Whatever is occupying your hands right now can wait a little longer, because I am speaking, and I am speaking directly to you. I am not addressing the whole world in some distant, general way. I am meeting you in this exact moment because you are the person I came to reach tonight. I did not bring you here to frighten you, but to prepare you. And there is a difference between those two things that I need you to understand before we go any further. Fear causes you to freeze where you are, but preparation gives you the courage to move. Everything I am telling you tonight is meant to help you take your next step with awareness, not to leave you trapped in place. I want you moving forward with your eyes open, understanding what is around you instead of allowing fear to decide where you stand. Something has been developing quietly around your life, beneath the ordinary rhythm of your days. You may look at this evening and think nothing unusual is happening, that it is simply another night that will pass like all the others. Yet beneath that calm surface there are things shifting that you may not recognize yet. I would rather show you what is happening now than allow you to enter what comes next without understanding what you are walking into. I have not been silent in your life, and I have never been far from the things that trouble you. Even during the moments when my presence felt difficult for you to recognize, I am drawing your attention here tonight because my love for you is too deep for me to simply watch you move through this season without warning. There are moments when your attention matters more than it has in a very long time, and this is one of those moments. I know how tired you have become. I know how crowded your days are, how many responsibilities fill your mind, and how little space you feel you have left for anything that asks you to become still and truly listen. That is why I am not asking you to give me hours. Tonight I am asking you to give me your full attention for this little while, because even a brief moment of genuine attention can make room for you to hear what you have been overlooking. You have felt something quietly drawing you to remain here instead of moving on to whatever was waiting for you next. Do not dismiss that feeling as meaningless, or brush it away simply because you cannot explain it. It did not come into this moment by accident, and it is part of the gentle way I reach you in those places where there is still enough quiet for you to listen. There are choices in front of you that may appear ordinary, even insignificant, yet they carry more weight than you realize. There is a direction you have been considering, a person you have been trusting, perhaps even a habit you stopped questioning because it became so familiar that you hardly notice it anymore. Any one of these can quietly pull you away from the peace I desire for you, and I am asking you to pay attention. I am not telling you to become afraid of every choice you make or suspicious of every person you meet. I am asking you to live with your eyes open, because when you walk through life awake and attentive, you begin to recognize things that would otherwise pass unnoticed. You notice the small signs before they grow into something much harder to undo. And that awareness is a gift I am giving you because I would rather you recognize trouble early than face it when you are already unprepared. There is a difference between being warned and being punished, and I need you to remember that tonight. A warning is not my judgment against you. It is an expression of care given before danger arrives, while you still have room to choose another direction. You still have time, and you still have the strength to step away from something that could cost you the peace you have been trying so hard to hold on to. That is why I am asking you to resist the urge to rush forward tonight without looking carefully at what lies ahead. Slow down for a moment, breathe, and look again at what you are preparing to enter, because a second look can reveal something the first glance completely missed. Sometimes what becomes clear in stillness was hidden by the speed with which you were trying to make a decision. There are people close to you whose intentions may not always be exactly what they appear to be. I am asking you to pay attention to what people consistently do, not simply to what they say in one particular moment, because truth often reveals itself through time and through patterns. If you remain patient enough to watch, you will begin to recognize what is genuine and what deserves a closer look. Trust that quiet sense within you that tells you when something does not sit right. Do not dismiss it immediately or talk yourself out of it before you have taken the time to listen carefully, because this inner awareness is one of the ways I can guide you. It may come more quietly than spoken words, but that does not make it meaningless. I want you to remain steady tonight rather than becoming shaken by what I am showing you. This is not about living frightened of every shadow that crosses your path. It is about learning to walk with wisdom, because wisdom keeps you grounded when circumstances around you become uncertain. A person who walks wisely is harder to mislead and less likely to step unknowingly into a trap. You are protected, but protection is also connected to the choices you make, and to whether you are willing to hear the warnings placed before you. Every step you take with greater awareness strengthens the path in front of you and reduces the chance of being caught completely off guard by something you could have recognized earlier. So do not dismiss what you are sensing in this moment simply because the entire picture has not become clear yet. That quiet feeling that something here matters is worth paying attention to. It is part of the way I am leading you toward understanding, while allowing the larger picture to become clear in its proper time. Stay with me a little longer, because there is more I need you to hear tonight. I have watched you carry burdens that were never meant to rest entirely on your shoulders. I have seen you continue forward on days when your strength was already gone, telling yourself that stopping simply was not an option. Tonight I want you to understand that stopping long enough to listen is not weakness. It is the beginning of the protection you have been asking me for, even when you could not find the words to ask. Some dangers do not announce themselves loudly. They can arrive disguised as comfort, familiarity, or something so small and harmless looking that you would never think to question it. That is why people can move past them without recognizing what they are costing until much later, and I would rather you recognize what is happening now, while there is still room to change direction. You are here tonight for a reason. Out of everything you could have been doing in this moment, you are sitting here listening, and that tells me that some part of you was ready to receive what I am saying. I do not treat moments like this carelessly, and I have been preparing this conversation for longer than you realize, waiting for the moment when your heart would be open enough to hear it, without immediately turning away in fear. So hold on to what I am telling you tonight. Carry these words with you when you leave this moment and return to the noise, responsibilities, and ordinary rhythm of your life. What may feel like a quiet warning right now could save you from a much harder road later, and I would rather place that awareness in your hands while it can still change your direction. If you would rather walk prepared than be caught unaware, speak your amen out loud. I have been waiting for you to respond to me, and I want you to understand what I mean by that response, because I am not asking for a flawless answer, a confident declaration, or perfectly formed words. I am asking for your heart to turn toward me, even if it turns only a little, even if you are tired, uncertain, or still trying to understand what you believe. I have waited for that turning with patience, not frustration. There have been many times when I called to you gently, not through thunder or some overwhelming display, but through a quiet whisper that could reach the places inside you where everything else had become still. I spoke through thoughts that appeared when you least expected them, and through moments of silence that felt uncomfortable because you were not accustomed to slowing down long enough to notice them. You did not become quiet because you stopped caring. Your silence came from a weariness so deep that even listening could feel like another responsibility you did not have the strength to carry. You were carrying more than the people around you understood, and I saw that even when you could not explain it yourself. When someone becomes that exhausted, even love can seem far away. I have always understood this about you, and it never caused me to turn away. There were nights when something inside you urged you to pray, yet you could not find the words, and I was there in every one of those moments. I did not turn away when you hesitated. I understood that your silence came from exhaustion rather than stubbornness, and exhaustion is not something I hold against you. I have watched you wrestle with your own thoughts, wondering whether you were truly hearing me or simply imagining what you wanted to hear, because you were longing so deeply for an answer. I saw the way fear made you hesitate because you were afraid of what listening might require from you. None of that made me step farther away. It drew me closer, because love does not rush a tired heart, and love does not demand more from someone who is already giving everything they have. I know the difference between unwillingness and wariness, and I have never confused the two when I looked at you. Your name has not disappeared from my awareness. Your life has not gone unnoticed, and your silence did not pass before me without care. There were moments when I held certain paths back because they were not ready for you yet, and moments when I allowed things to slow down because I knew you were not prepared to walk into them safely. I was not absent while you were silent. I was quietly watching over you in the middle of that silence, even when you interpreted the waiting as evidence that you had somehow been forgotten. There were times when you believed you had missed your opportunity, that you had waited too long, or that you should have answered sooner. But hear me clearly now. You did not miss me. I did not operate according to the deadlines you have created in your fear. I am not offended simply because you hesitated, and I do not quickly withdraw from someone who needs time. I am faithful, and faithfulness knows how to wait without resentment. You have spent time worrying that you might disappoint me, and that fear has sometimes caused you to pull away because you believed you needed to have everything figured out before you could come to me honestly. But I have never asked you to come with certainty. I have asked you to come with honesty, exactly as you are, even when your faith feels fragile and your heart is exhausted. I have never demanded a perfect answer from you. I have asked for your presence just as it is, including the uncertainty, the questions, and the weariness you sometimes wish you could hide. When you did not respond, I did not turn my face away. I leaned closer and waited for the moment when you would feel safe enough to answer without being consumed by shame over how long it took. You may never know how many times I quietly protected you while you were silent. You may never see all the paths I slowed, or all the moments I covered with grace, because I knew how worn down your heart had become. But I heard the quiet cry that no one else around you could hear, because it came from somewhere deeper than the words you were able to speak. People close to you may see your strength, your composure, and the way you continue handling what needs to be handled. I see beneath that surface, and I see the ache that returns when the noise of the day finally disappears, and you are left alone with your thoughts. I see those nights when your body is exhausted, but your mind keeps replaying conversations, decisions, and moments you wish you could somehow revisit. You wonder whether you said too much or too little. You wonder whether you waited too long or moved too quickly, and those questions become especially loud when the room is quiet and there is nothing left to distract you. In those moments when you feel most alone with your own thoughts, I am there with you, closer than the silence surrounding you. There have been prayers you formed in your heart that never reached your lips. You began sentences and stopped before finishing them because you were unsure how they should end. And there were times when you wanted to ask me why, but were afraid of what the answer might awaken inside you. Those unfinished prayers did not disappear into emptiness. I received them completely because I hear what the heart says, even when the mouth remains silent. You have experienced loneliness that other people could not fully understand. Sometimes it was not because you were physically alone, but because you felt unseen even while surrounded by people. That loneliness did not mean you had been forgotten. It revealed the longing within you for a depth that the people and circumstances around you could not always provide. I want you to hear me stand that today, because it matters more than you realize. Every private tear, every sudden moment when emotion rose without warning, every tear that surprised you with how deeply it came from within you was seen. None of it was wasted, and none of it passed unnoticed. You have never cried alone, even during the moments when being alone felt more real than anything else you knew. You have wondered whether anyone truly knows you beyond the version of yourself you present to the world, beyond the person who keeps functioning, answering, working, and holding everything together. Hear me now. I know you completely. I know your fears and your hopes at the same time. I know your questions, and I know the faith you continue returning to, even after moments of doubt. Nothing about you is hidden from me, and nothing you carry causes me to turn away. You do not have to keep carrying all of this alone. You do not have to keep wondering whether your pain mattered, or whether anyone who truly cared noticed the tears you shed when no one else was there. I am with you now just as I have been with you through every quiet season that came before this one. I am not standing outside your struggle, watching from a distance. I am present in the middle of it, ready to bring comfort, ready to bring peace, and ready to remind you that you are fully known and loved without condition. If you believe I am already moving on your behalf tonight, whisper your amen. My child, I want you to hear me today. Not because your circumstances have shifted, but because real weight for you upon the altar of this work. Let it be an offering given freely rather than something you hold back, because fear tells you there will never be enough. A seed released into the deep with your trust placed in my ability to provide. What you give in faith is being offered as an expression of trust in my hand, and of your willingness to release your grip on lack. Now hear me about something else that matters just as much tonight. There are people in your life whose intentions may not be as pure as they appear, and you may trust them deeply because you believe they genuinely want what is best for you. I am asking you to look beyond their words and pay attention to their actions, because truth often reveals itself gradually through what people consistently do. There is a pattern in your life that has repeated itself, and it has not been serving you well. You may have already sensed it, even if you have not completely faced it. especially in the way you respond when circumstances become uncertain or difficult. Instead of stepping back to reflect, you often move ahead quickly, hoping the situation will somehow resolve itself without requiring you to stop and deal with what is actually happening. Tonight is an opportunity to respond differently. When you pause and give yourself time to reflect before acting, you begin seeing beneath the surface rather than seeing only what you hope is there. This is one way you protect yourself from harm that can hide behind something that looks good, because reflection gives you the space to make choices grounded in truth rather than impulse or pressure. Reflection is not weakness. It is strength because it gives you room to see clearly before you commit yourself to a direction. There is someone connected to your life who may not fully recognize your worth, and although their behavior may not appear openly harmful, there is a lack of care that could gradually wear down your peace if you continue allowing it unchecked. You may already feel a quiet hesitation around this person, a small sense of uncertainty that you have not completely trusted. Pay attention to it and take the time to look more deeply rather than forcing yourself to ignore what you sense. You do not need to confront everything at once, but you do need to become more aware of what you permit to occupy the space around you. You deserve to spend your time in places that support your growth and protect your peace, rather than constantly reshaping yourself to fit somewhere that does not honor you. Your peace has value and it deserves to be guarded with the same care you would give anything precious. This is a time to begin creating limits around what you allow into your life, not from coldness, but from care for the parts of you that need protection. Boundaries are not about rejecting everyone around you. They are about preserving what matters within you so that you can move through life with greater steadiness. There is also a decision about your future that you have been carrying in your thoughts for some time, perhaps involving work, a relationship, or a direction you have been quietly considering. You have weighed the possibilities carefully, yet something within you still has not settled into peace about the choice. Do not dismiss that unsettled feeling simply because you want an answer, because it may be telling you that there is more you need to examine before moving forward. What is right for you can withstand careful consideration, even when the decision itself remains difficult. If something demands an immediate answer and leaves you no room to think, step back before you commit yourself. I am asking you to slow down and allow understanding to come before action, because clarity can spare you from the kind of loss that happens when you move too quickly. There is strength growing in you through this process, whether you can recognize it yet or not. Every time you choose awareness instead of impulse, you become more grounded and steady in the way you move through life. You begin developing a deeper trust in the guidance you are receiving, and that trust can shape your decisions in ways that are difficult to explain until you have lived them. You are not being asked to withdraw from everyone or shut yourself away from the world. You are being asked to move through your days with greater awareness, noticing what is real rather than settling for what merely looks safe on the surface. Look honestly at the path you are on and ask yourself whether your choices are carrying you toward peace or quietly pulling you toward confusion. When something is right for you, there can be a quiet sense of alignment, even when the road remains difficult. When something is wrong for you, there can be a subtle discomfort that grows the longer you choose to overlook it. Pay attention to that difference, because learning to recognize it can influence more decisions in the months ahead than you realize. There is also something within your daily habits that needs your attention now. It may seem insignificant, something you have repeated for so long that you barely think about it anymore. But small habits shape your direction over time, because what you repeatedly do eventually becomes part of the path you are walking. Look carefully at what you allow into the rhythm of your everyday life, because lasting change begins with what you consistently choose. Listen carefully now, because it is no accident that you are still here after everything I have already said. You made the choice to remain with these words, and nothing happens by chance when I am working in your life. I am the one who creates paths where you could see none, the one who lifts what has fallen and restores what once appeared permanently lost. I have seen your tears. I have heard the prayers you never spoke aloud, and I have watched the nights when worry kept you awake because you wondered whether I was truly listening. Tonight I am telling you plainly, yes, I hear you, yes, I see you, and I am here with you now as you bring everything you have been carrying before me. Those who wait for me will not be left ashamed, because I renew the strength of the weary and rebuild what once seemed beyond repair. My desire is to bless you and those you love so fully that your story will no longer look the way it once did. But hear this as well, because I am a God of love, and I am also a God of order and truth. Stay close to my voice, because the path toward what I am about to give you opens more clearly as you remain attentive to it. Watch carefully for what I am preparing, because provision is already moving toward a need that is felt impossible for you to solve on your own. It will not come simply from your own strength or effort. It will come from my hand. I am opening what has been closed and showing you that there is no limit to what I can do for the person who continues believing in me even after the waiting has lasted longer than expected. This provision will bring real relief into your home and will meet needs that have weighed heavily on you. It will reach beyond what is immediately required and begin uprooting the scarcity that has followed you for far too long. You know, the kind of scarcity that makes you feel as though you are always one step behind, no matter how hard you work. I am not a God who gives halfway. I complete what I begin, and I bring to fulfillment what I have promised. Because of your faith, your quiet devotion, and the way you have continued showing up even when it was difficult, things are beginning to shift in your favor in ways you have not yet seen. What was closed will begin to open. What seemed lifeless will begin to stir again, and I am sending a fresh wind across your life as you enter this season of renewal. Even if your eyes still see unfinished things and your hands have not yet received everything you have hoped for, I assure you that I am already working in what you cannot see. Soon you will see what I have been doing begin to take shape before you. Do not lose heart, because I am never late, and I do not forget what I have promised you simply because it has taken longer than you expected to unfold in your life. I also hear your longing for rest, genuine rest, not the brief moments you manage to steal between one obligation and the next. Your strength has been worn thin, and your heart has carried more than it should have had to carry alone. I am not a God who overlooks the weariness of those I love. I give rest to those who seek me, and I renew those who feel as though they have nothing left to offer. I hear your desire for a simpler way of moving through your days, for comfort in ordinary places that have felt harder than they should. I have not overlooked even the desires you have never spoken aloud to another person. I see the small wishes just as clearly as the large ones, and I am the one who can multiply what appears small until it becomes enough. I took a few loaves and a handful of fish and made them sufficient for a crowd that otherwise would have gone hungry, and that ability has not been lost. Do not be afraid of small beginnings, because in my hands what seems little can become much, and what appears limited can become more than enough. The years you spent sowing through tears were not wasted, even during the moments when it seemed that nothing was growing from them. Every prayer, every quiet act of faithfulness, every moment when you continued believing despite everything around you has been bringing forth a harvest. Now the time is coming to gather what you planted with patience. I have seen every small act of faith you offered, and I have kept each one in my memory. I am healing what has been wounded inside you, strengthening your heart so that you do not give up when the road becomes long again, and renewing your mind so that you can see beyond limitations you once believed were permanent. I do not want you moving forward while dragging old chains behind you. I want you to hear me forward with greater lightness, freedom, and steadiness, trusting that nothing in front of you is too much for me to handle. Do not be afraid to receive and enjoy the good things that come into this season. Every smile, every quiet moment of joy, every deep breath you take when the tension finally leaves your chest can be received as a gift. You are allowed to rejoice, and you are allowed to rest without feeling guilty for doing so. You have walked in faith through a long stretch of difficulty, and I am faithful to reward those who continued believing even when believing became hard. I am not a man who lies, and I do not change my mind after I have spoken a promise. What I say, I bring to pass, and what I promise, I follow through on completely in this new season I am opening before you. Each step forward will remind you that I opened doors that were once closed, multiply what little remained in your hands, and honor the perseverance you carried quietly when no one else noticed. So do not doubt what I am telling you tonight, and do not convince yourself that what I am giving you is too much for you to receive. If you remain rooted in my word and keep my voice close to your heart, I will make sure you have what you truly need. What I am bringing into this season of rest, provision, and renewal is only the beginning of what I intend to do in the days still ahead. I am also bringing new connections into your life. People I am sending to walk beside you as a blessing along your path. They will not arrive without purpose, and they will not simply appear by random chance. I am placing them near you because they are part of what I am doing in your life during this season. And just as I am bringing certain people closer, I am also loosening your ties to relationships that have not truly wished you well. I am closing doors to connections that have given you little except another burden to carry. I want you to hear me today, not because your circumbecarer have been carrying his son to it. The time when you felt small, simply because of who you were around, is coming to an end. You will begin to see your worth affirmed in ways you have not experienced for a long time. I will remind you of who you are in me. I will remind you that you were not created for failure or for a life lived permanently on the sidelines, but to reflect something greater throughout your days. You do not need to keep doubting your worth or carrying the weight of words others placed over you when those words were never true. I am the one who formed you with purpose. My plan for your life will outlast every doubt that has tried to take root inside your heart. What was hidden from you is beginning to come into view, and after the long stretches of silence and unanswered questions, I want you to understand that what felt like stillness was also preparation. While you believed nothing was happening, I was arranging things you could not yet see. While you thought everything had stopped moving, I was laying foundations strong enough to carry what I am about to place into your hands. I am here to change the direction of your story, and what once brought you shame will become a source of quiet honor. What once looked like loss will become something you gain through the process, even if you cannot yet understand how. I will make your presence felt in places where you were once overlooked, placing something within you that will open doors, build trust, and bring recognition you did not pursue, but received through remaining faithful. The season ahead is one of real growth, and that growth will touch more than one part of your life. You will see changes in what you hold in your hands, but you will also see changes in the way you carry yourself, the way you understand what happened to you, and the clarity with which you begin looking toward the road ahead. What once confused you will begin to make sense, because I will give you the understanding you need at the moment you need it. I will guide you step by step, and you will not be left to stumble through uncertainty by yourself. I go before you, clearing what needs to be cleared before you arrive. I am opening doors into places you have never been, toward opportunities you once could not allow yourself to imagine, and along paths other people assumed were permanently closed. What I place in your hands will not feel like another burden. It will feel like the freedom you have been waiting for, without knowing exactly what to call it. In the middle of everything I am bringing into this season, remember that the key to walking through it well is keeping your trust fixed on me. Do not cling to what I have already released from your hands, and do not turn backward because of fear. Keep looking ahead, because that is where I am unfolding what comes next. Do not allow the doubts of people around you to pull you away from the path I have placed before you. Remember the promise I spoke through the ancient words, the words that still carry meaning tonight. I am doing a new thing, and it is already beginning to appear. I am making a way through the wilderness, and rivers are rising in places that have been dry for far too long. That same promise belongs to you tonight, as it did to those who first heard it centuries ago. You will see paths appear where there once seemed to be none. You will see provision arrive where there was once emptiness, and you will see fulfillment settle into places where promises once waited quietly to be kept. Everything I have spoken tonight is more than words meant to comfort you for an hour. You will see it begin to take shape in your own life, clearly enough that you will recognize where it came from. I am bringing to life things within you that have remained hidden for longer than you realize. There are gifts that seemed dormant, but were never truly gone, and you will rise with a fresh kind of wisdom, with ideas that do not come from your effort alone, but from what I place within you as you remain close to me. This is a season of acceleration, and what once took years to unfold will now move within a much shorter span, because I have decided that this is the time to reveal my faithfulness to you in a way you cannot mistake for coincidence. Do not decide that any of this is too large for you to receive. Is anything impossible for the one who created the heavens and gave breath to every living thing? Do not place limits on what I can do simply because your doubts have become loud lately. What feels like a distant hope tonight will become something you can hold in your hands before long. You will remember this moment as the night when things quietly began to turn. Those who once watched you struggle will see you rise, and those who knew you in seasons of scarcity will witness the abundance that follows. When that happens, you will know that my word does not fail. You will know that my promises remain, and that my faithfulness toward you never wavered even during the years when it seemed otherwise from where you were standing. If you are ready to receive what I have spoken over your life tonight, declare your Amen where you are. Before we come to the end of this message together, I want to be honest with you about something. I am a God of love, and everything I have told you tonight flows from that love. But I am also a God of order and truth. What I have shared with you is not something meant to be heard once and then forgotten when morning arrives. Hold on to it and let it settle deeply within you, instead of allowing it to disappear as soon as your day becomes busy again. There is a warning I want you to remember clearly. Guard what you reveal, and be careful about who receives the deepest parts of what you carry. There are things you have shared freely before that were later used in ways you never expected, and I want you to learn from that without closing your heart to everyone. This does not mean you should shut yourself away from the people around you. It means you should become more thoughtful about where you place your trust from this point forward, because every space does not deserve access to everything you carry inside. Pay attention to how your body responds to the people and places around you, because sometimes those reactions appear before your mind has fully understood what it is noticing. Some rooms bring you a quiet ease the moment you enter. Other places create a tightness you cannot immediately explain, and I want you to become more attentive to those signals rather than automatically dismissing them. Learn to recognize what brings peace and what unsettles you, because that awareness can help keep you alert when the reasons are not yet obvious. When this season of pressure lifts, and it will lift, do not return to the way you lived before the pressure began. That is where many people lose what they gained through difficulty. Once they feel steady again, they quietly return to the same habits that left them empty before. Stay as attentive after the storm has passed as you were while you were still standing inside it. There is a strength within you that has not fully come forward yet, and this season is drawing it out of you, whether you recognize the process now or only see it later. That part of you is steady and wise, and it is more capable than you have given yourself credit for. You have walked through difficult seasons before, and you came out of them carrying more resilience than you understood at the time. What feels heavy right now will eventually become part of the testimony you tell about your strength. One day, you will describe this season to someone else, and you may be surprised by how steady your own voice sounds when the words finally leave your mouth. Do not doubt your ability to make sound choices. When you remain aligned with what is true, you are more capable than you think. And as long as you continue listening the way you are listening right now, you are not without guidance. I am with you as you move through everything ahead, and my guidance is not distant or unreachable. It can appear through the thoughts that suddenly bring clarity and through the feelings that quietly steer you away from something that is not right for you. You are not being abandoned to figure every part of this out alone. What you need to know will be revealed gradually, in the timing that fits you best. As you continue remaining open and willing to listen, I also want you to recognize a part of yourself that has doubted your instincts for longer than you would like to admit. There have been moments when you sensed something was wrong, yet instead of trusting that feeling, you questioned yourself and continued forward anyway. That doubt has kept you from fully recognizing the guidance already present within your awareness. It is time to release that doubt tonight and begin paying attention to what you sense, because that inner awareness was never meant to lead you astray. It was placed there as part of the way you protect yourself. You are being invited to strengthen your awareness throughout every area of your life, not so that you become suspicious of everyone and everything, but so that you remain present enough to notice what truly matters. When you are present, you notice what other people overlook. You recognize changes in behavior, shifts in energy, and small signals that something needs your attention before it becomes something much larger. That kind of awareness can become a quiet shield around you, helping you avoid the kind of loss that often arrives before people realize what is happening. There is also a need for you to guard your peace more carefully than you have been. You have allowed certain things to disturb your thoughts and emotions, even when they never deserve that much of your attention in the first place. Not everything requires a response from you, and not everything deserves the energy you have been giving it. Learning to step back and remain calm when small distractions arise will help keep you grounded when the moments that truly matter arrive. When your mind remains clear, your decisions become stronger, and your steadiness becomes something other people can recognize, even when you are making no effort to prove anything. This is the shield I have been building around you throughout this message, piece by piece, so that when pressure rises again, you will already know how to remain steady inside it. Hear me now as I bring this message toward its close, because these final words are what I want you carrying with you when the room becomes quiet again and the message fades into the background of your evening. Nothing you have heard tonight was accidental, and every word has met you in the place where you are standing right now, with everything you are currently carrying. You are not exactly the same person who began listening. Something inside you has already shifted. You may not have a perfect name for what changed, but what once felt scattered is beginning to become steadier in your mind. That steadiness will become part of how you protect yourself as you move forward, because a steady mind makes decisions that are harder to shake when pressure or the opinions of others begin pulling at you. You are learning to become still within yourself before you move forward into the world around you. That is a quiet kind of strength, and most people never take the time to build it. There is a strength within you that has not fully emerged yet, but this season is drawing it forward piece by piece, whether you recognize it while it is happening, or only understand it when you look back. Release the fear that has been building while you have been listening. What I have shared with you tonight is not something you are powerless to face. It can be met through awareness and wise choices, one decision at a time. You have more influence over what happens next than you may realize, especially now that you are choosing to move forward with open eyes, rather than moving through your days without truly seeing what is around you. Fear does not carry you forward. Understanding does, and tonight you have gathered more understanding than you had when you first sat down to listen. Carry it gently, and do not feel that you must apply every part of it at once. Let it settle inside you slowly, the way rain sinks into dry ground and reaches the roots instead of rushing across the surface. There is still more that will unfold in the days ahead, more than could ever be contained within a single message like this, but you are better prepared to meet what comes than you were before the night began. Because what you have heard is already shaping your path quietly and steadily. You are no longer moving through your life without awareness, and that alone changes the shape of what comes next. I am not leaving you when this message ends. I am not stepping away the moment the words stop. My presence remains with you through the ordinary hours of tomorrow, through the decisions you will face this week, and through the quiet moments when you wonder whether what happened here was real. It was real, I was speaking, and you were listening. And that is enough to begin changing the direction of your story. You are loved more deeply than you have allowed yourself to fully believe. You are seen in the moments when you thought no one was watching, and you are held even when the ground beneath you has felt uncertain. Whatever you carry into tomorrow, carry it knowing that you are not walking through it without me. I go before you, I remain beside you, and I stand behind you, covering what you cannot see coming on your own. Stay close to the truth you received tonight, and do not let the busyness of tomorrow convince you to abandon what has just settled into your heart. Let this become a turning point, not because everything changes overnight, but because you finally became still long enough to listen. I know you may still have questions that I did not answer tonight. I know there are parts of your life that remain uncertain even after everything I have spoken over you, and that uncertainty does not mean I failed to hear you. Some things are still unfolding according to a timing only I can fully see. Trust that the same faithfulness that brought you to this moment will continue carrying you through whatever waits on the other side of tonight. You have spent a long time believing that you had to hold everything together by yourself, that if you loosened your grip even slightly, everything around you would fall apart. Tonight I am asking you to loosen that grip, not because you are weak, but because you were never meant to carry all of it alone. Let me hold what has become too heavy for your hands. Allowing me to carry it is not a failure on your part. It is exactly what I am here for. When you wake tomorrow, you may feel the familiar pull to forget what you heard tonight and allow the ordinary noise of the day to drown out this quiet moment, just as it has drowned out others before. Resist that pull. Return to these words when you need them again, and speak them over yourself on the days when doubt becomes louder than faith. What was true tonight will still be true next week and a year from now, because my faithfulness does not change with a calendar. You are standing at the beginning of something, not at the end of it. Whatever felt heavy when you entered this message, you are not carrying it in exactly the same way as you leave it. Let that change continue growing within you long after this message has ended, and your day has returned to its familiar rhythm. Remember this moment. Remember that you stopped, that you listened, and that you chose to receive what I was offering instead of allowing it to pass unnoticed like so many quiet moments before. That choice matters more than you understand right now, and when you look back you may recognize it as the place where things slowly began turning towards something better. The people you love, the people you carry in your prayers, even when you do not always speak their names aloud. You may feel the difference this season is making in you before you ever find the words to explain what has changed. Let that become part of what this night means to you. Let it be more than private comfort. Let it become a quiet strength that reaches into the lives of the people you care about most. If you have heard my voice tonight, and you are choosing to move forward in trust rather than fear, say your amen now and carry it with you into whatever the morning brings. If you would like to support this work, you can use the QR code or the support link in the pinned comment. God bless you.